Hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a quick look at a very special weapon indeed. It is the weapon of the long-awaited Excalibur Umbra, and the first weapon to be introduced with Umbra polarities, the Skiajati, or something like that. So first things first, you get the Skiajati by doing the new Sacrifice questline, which I'm of course not going to spoil. The Skiajati is a Nekana that requires you to be at least Mastery rank 11 to use it, and it does 77.1 damage per hit. 60.1 is slash, 11.6 is impact, and 5.4 is puncture. It has a very solid 27% status chance, an acceptable 15% crit chance, and slightly below average 1.9 times crit multiplier. It comes with a V polarity in the stance sword, which matches all the Nekana stances, and as I've mentioned already, it also has two Umbra polarities, which match the new sacrificial mods. The weapon is also pretty fast. It has a base attack speed of 1.17. But that's not everything, because there is also a unique mechanic, because whenever you do a finisher, this does not work on ground finishers by the way, you will turn invisible for 5 seconds. The invisibility does not count as an ability, so you won't be uncloaked by nullifiers and some combat and scrumbus units. However, if you perform any action other than just running around, you will decloak instantly. This actually has a very nice synergy with Inaros' passive, where he will heal every time he kills an enemy with a finisher. Because when you resort to finishers as an Inaros, you're either killing something very beefy, so usually very high level, at which point invisibility can't hurt, or you really need to heal up, at which point invisibility is actually really nice. Now the build I ended up with on the Skiajati is a 2 Forma build where I've added a V and a dash. But you can easily go for a 1 Forma build where you use Virulent Scourge instead of Prime Fever Strike. Now the stance I'm using is Tranquil Cleave because it's the one I like the most, but you can use whatever stance you want, they all have a V polarity. Then I'm using Sacrificial Pressure, which even if you max it out isn't quite as good as Primed Pressure Point, but it does have some extra sentient damage, so that's nice. But it first of all matches the Umbra polarity, and second of all, it boosts Sacrificial Steel, which is way better than True Steel. And I'm pretty sure the extra crit chance is overall way better than the extra damage. Then I'm using Blood Rush to scale my crit chance as I build my combo counter, Organ Chatter to bump up the crit multiplier so I'm actually doing good damage with my crit, Drifting Contact for some combo duration and extra status chance, after which I have Condition Overload for more damage as I proc more status on the enemy, and I finished it off with Prime Fever Strike and Vicious Frost for a ton of viral damage and some status chance. Now one thing to bear in mind here is that this setup has quite a bit of ramp up time, so it's not the best for testing in the simulacrum because you start with 0 combo counter, so you don't have as much crit as you will normally have in a mission, and you also need to hit the enemy once or twice to proc some status for Condition Overload to take effect. It also depends on what combo you're using with Tranquil Cleave, because the Pause combo, which has an insane multi-strike that will absolutely brutalize everything, does way more single target damage than everything else. The other combos are geared more towards either AoE because they have wide sweeping attack, so they're fantastic for taking out smaller units in larger numbers, and then of course there is the block combo, which gives you a ton of mobility with a dash. But anyway, even with all of that said, the weapon still performs really well, even in the simulacrum from a cold start, so it will easily take down even the toughest units from each faction at level 100. It is, at the end of the day, running a Condition Overload setup with Blood Rush, so it will kill everything you throw it at. This is an interesting little beastie indeed, because while the stats aren't top notch, the weapon is fast enough and has enough reach so that you don't need to run an attack speed mod or a range mod, so you can go with full damage. And it feels absolutely fine that way. I generally just put Prime Reach on every single melee weapon, but I don't really feel the need to do it here. It feels fine without it. And that lets you push the weapon into what I like to call the LOL tier for melee weapons. Basically everything you touch with it is going to die. It's also a very good stat stick for things like Whipclaw thanks to the Umbra polarities, which make it much cheaper to fit in the sacrificial mods, because if you want to put these on another weapon, it's gonna cost you a lot of Forma since you can't add the Umbra polarity, so you have to Forma around them. And then there is the unique mechanic, you go invisible when you do a finisher, which never gets in the way, it's just nice to have, it's a nice little bonus. And oh yeah, I almost forgot, the weapon is free, it comes fully leveled up, and it has a potato. There's really nothing to complain about here, this is just good, and that's pretty much it. So I thank you very much for watching, as always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time, bye bye.